Dan Dakich, former college coach, former college player, ESPN college basketball analyst, also works for 1070 The Fan in Indianapolis. Dan, thanks for joining us. Let me start with Louisville. Was it an appropriate punishment, in your opinion, for Louisville?
Dan, I go back and forth with it. I don't know what really vacating wins does. I don't know what really vacating titles does. But I do. But so that's one side. The other side is, you know what? If you are going to have rules, you only have so many ways you can punish. And everybody says, well, you got to punish in the checkbook, and I get that. I do. And so they're gonna get back funds. But I think you've got to do something else. But I don't know. It just seems like. What do we say? The games didn't count. What do we say? The games, give back their rings. Michigan the champ. What's the move? I don't know. I've never been overly yay rah. I've always been more. Let's get rid of the coach. Let's get rid of the system. Let's get rid of the guys involved. But I do understand you got to have certain deterrence. I mean, you have to have deterrence. You can't just have rules and, little slaps on the wrist. And this is not a slap on the wrist, Big D. This is forever, or at least for the time being, as long as I've been alive. It's the only team that's ever had a banner championship taken down, been some Final Fours. But it's a huge deterrent, I would hope. But I like the fact more than anything, they got rid of Pitino, they got rid of Jurich, and they can move forward, I think.
How involved do you think Pitino was? How aware do you think he was of what was going on?
I can't imagine that he wasn't. I just can't imagine now. If you're going to tell me one night they had hookers in the dorm because the seventh assistant decided that was what he was going to do, and players wanted to do it, and I'd say, all right, maybe he didn't know. If you're going to tell me one night, but Dan, you're talking about years, and you're talking about a guy that built the place. You're talking about a guy who hired the assistant. And even if he didn't know, didn't he set the culture that that's okay?
Yeah.
I always like the fact that a guy was writing a book on the culture of athletics, and he interviewed my team at Bowling Green, and he came back, he said, your team is scared to death to screw up. I said, that's right. I said, they should be. They're scared to death to do anything illegal, take anything from a booster. They're scared to death to do anything with the law. And I said, that's how it should be. It's a privilege to play college basketball. So whether he knew or not, the culture was over years. They had, how silly is this? Prostitutes in their dorm. I mean, Dan, just think about that just for a second. Just think about, we're going to build a basketball dorm. We're going to have one of our assistants bring hookers into the dorm to meet recruits. I mean, just think about that. That right there means the head coach has got to get fired. Right there means the school's got a serious problem. And where's the media? The Louisville media. Everybody says, well, nobody spoke. Well, we've seen the power of investigative reporters over the last few years. We've seen the power of media following up on tips, over the last few months, certainly. Where was the Louisville media in all this? Were they just fanboys, or where were they? Because somebody's talking somewhere, and, they just allowed it to happen.
Does Pitino get another job?
NBA, probably for sure. College, maybe after a few years. Dan, you know this. You know as well as anybody that, man, winning is strong, and Pitino goes in there and talks to some AD. Hell, Calvin Sampson got a job.
Yeah.
After twice. And, look, the great Royce Waltman, who many people have never heard, but was a great coach philosopher, said very clearly, get fired for anything but losing. You get fired for losing, you're never going to get another job. Get fired for anything. And we're seeing it, man. We are. So
how's this going to play out with this FBI investigation that's supposed to have this big net that's going to be draped over college basketball? What are you hearing about the fallout from this?
Well, it's interesting. I'm not sure what I'm hearing because nobody heard anything for 3 years. People didn't even know what was going on. And I'm being literal, not figurative. Literally didn't know what was going on. But obviously now people have talked. And obviously Pete Thamel, who's a really good investigative reporter, came out and said very publicly and very sternly that this is going to be an issue. And Hall of Fame coaches. Dan, I don't know. The one thing that I like about it is that guys that didn't cheat have nothing to worry about and literally are celebrating and hoping that things come out. because the guys that do cheat, everybody wants them exposed, and the NCAA didn't have enough of a hammer. I don't know. The one thing I don't like, though, is people's perception that everybody cheats. I didn't cheat. Coach Knight didn't cheat. Don Donaher didn't cheat. I mean, so I don't know. And to say that if anybody says they do know, I think is disingenuous. But I do think this, man, I do think there are a lot of dudes with a lot of wins having a lot of sleepless nights.
Okay, but how do I cheat now? Dan, how do I cheat?
Dan, I don't know because I never ran in those circles, and everybody says, well, we know the cheaters, and I always say, really, who, and how? What all I hear is the biggest problem coaches have is Andy Miller, who is a big time agent. They went into his office and they took his computers, they got his financial records, and has the most people worried, Dan. That's what everybody tells me. Andy Miller, agents' records, financial statements, that's what those guys, Chuck Person and the rest of them, got arrested for. They can get arrested for saying, hey, son, come here and we'll pave your mother's driveway, or we'll, buy a new car, or they can get arrested for that. They get arrested for all kind of financial stuff. So that's the place where people are supposedly the most nervous. Agents' financial records.
Best player in college basketball is?
Number 13, point guard at Ohio State University, Andrew Dakich, or Jalen Brunson, the point guard at Villanova, or I know we're supposed to, be tired, I guess, of Trae Young, but I like Trae Young. I think Trae Young's had a magical year, Dan, but I really think that Jalen Brunson has put himself and his team in a great position, man, and he's got to be considered.
Okay, but who is your pick as the best player in college basketball?
Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
Jalen Brunson.
Villanova.
I mean, look, I gave you a long answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you ask me what time it is, I tell you how to watch it, Big D. So you know what I mean. I go with Jalen Brunson, but, man, we built up Trae Young so big, and now he's had a few big games. Everybody wants to jump off the bandwagon, I guess, including me. But I just think Jalen Brunson's a winning guy, and he does it every night.
Safe travels. We'll talk to you as we head towards March Madness.
I hope so, Dan. Thrilled to talk to you, my man. Thank you.
Thank you, bud. That's Dan Dakich, ESPN college basketball analyst. Continental Tire Coach's Corner brings us Dan Dakich. Continental Tire, proud supporter of the Dan Patrick Show, the exclusive tire of the Dan Patrick Show. No matter where you drive or what you drive, Continental designs tires for what you do. For more information, visit ContinentalTire.com. Continental Tire, for what you do.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.